Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. We welcome you to this short webinar. We would like to introduce a solution to you for the electronic certificates, which allows to fill, change, and sign data automatically via an API solution. And for this, we have Barbara Krinsky here from MySign, our provider for the system and all the information. And I would like just to have a few remarks up front. This webinar is actually designed for labs who are looking into that and actually should have taken part in the prior testing with manual filling and the Excel possibility. We also would advise everyone to have the testing before they want to join the system. We offer two kinds of testing for the normal filling manually and Excel, and also for the automatic API solution. One after the other one, the first one to understand what the system is about, and the other one if you're really interested in automatic solutions and direct filling from your LIMS systems. Why do we ask for that? It's pretty easy. If you start to go on the program directly, you might fill your certificates also directly, and that means you may be losing some of your certificates. The system was approved by the ordinary general meet. On the test system, that is not happening. The eCertificates were approved by the ordinary general meeting last week on July 4, and the membership set a price of 10 Swiss francs, which is due to the point that we see that around 2.5% of papers are used to issue one original certificate on paper form. What will not be needed anymore are duplicates, because the duplicates are obsolete in this electronic system, because everybody can view the original certificate. We don't need any, you should not have any misprints, and the provisional certificates will automatically be transferred into originals when you signed it as an original. The access data will not change. So what you don't have to do is print the certificates and ship them via courier to your clients, and your clients don't have to ship them together with a consignment or parallel to the consignment to any importing authority. These costs are obsolete in that case. We are often asked two questions. One, do we still have the possibility of doing paper copies? Yes, both systems will be parallel. And the second question is about the, the second question is about, can I issue duplicates still? If you have the electronic certificate system and you issue an electronic original, you can issue paper duplicates. Parallel to that, you cannot, if there's a paper original, issue an ISTA eCertificate afterwards as well. That is because then there would be two originals. I hand over now to Barbara. We have opened also put some Q&A section together, and I will send you the link during our presentation. Thank you, Barbara. You may take over, but I still have to make you presenter, I think.
Yes, I would like to show something on my screen.
Which is the more complicated thing.
Okay, just let me know if you see my screen. Yep, that should work now.
We see your screen, Barbara.
Okay.
Please go.
So hello everybody. Good afternoon, good morning.
I forgot to say, if you have any questions, put them in the question box, please,
yes.
and we will answer them at the end of the presentation.
Okay, so let me just first say, I assume you are familiar with the functionality of manually creating an e-certificate or via Excel upload, and also about how the cockpit that you can see here is working with the download possibilities and filtering and tying e-certificates. I just explain a couple of things regarding the API. So first of all, just some technical information. Just switch that a little bit more into the screen. We provide two REST API endpoints. One is for creating new certificates or updating existing e-certificates, and the other one is for signing certificates. The configuration of signed certificates will be the same as in the manual process. Each signed certificate will automatically be sent as PDF or zip attachment to one email address if you provide one to ISTA. Yes, just some technical basic information. As I said, two REST endpoints. The connection is secured via HTTPS protocol, and each lab that is using the API will be using an individual API token. The data format is JSON, which is standard for REST endpoints. And the scheme of the JSON is mapping one-to-one the structure of the orange or blue e-certificate, and has one additional field with the external ID. Excuse me. The external ID has to be delivered from the outside system. Usually, I think it would be probably your primary ID or primary key in the database you maybe maintain. The reason for the external ID is that our system recognizes which e-certificate is addressed, because we also have an internal ID when the e-certificate is created in our system. So we can provide that the correct e-certificates are mapping. If you send a request of one or n e-certificates, you get a response as well from the system. The response gives you insight if the request was successful overall, or also specific error messages if there is some problem with the not allowed values in a certain field, or if a mandatory field has not been filled out. There's a possibility of testing the API solution via an application called Postman or a similar application. Be careful not to use the web version of it, that won't work. But there's to say, Postman is not a tool to really work in a productive way. This is really just a testing tool. So if you're interested in using the API, that would mean you have to make a certain investment on your side. You have to build an individual solution, because each lab or each lab will have a specific or individual IT system or framework they are using. We just provide the endpoints to send the data to. As already mentioned, each signed certificate will automatically be mailed as PDF or zip. You can choose in which format you want to receive the e-certificates, and they are sent in one. So if you sign like 20 certificates at a time, you will also receive 20 certificates at a time by email. We just make sure that the emails don't exceed any certain size, so you still can receive it, and you might receive bulk emails. Also important to know, because that's a question that gets asked a lot of times, an original signed or final signed e-certificate cannot be altered or deleted from the system, and they will be stored in an external storage system that is owned by ISTA. and it's also stored in our internal database and a redundancy system. So it's actually stored in 3 places. In any case of disaster, there will for sure be some copy around, or can be saved. The process for Interested Lab is that we just first set up the API for you on the test system. And once we have concluded the test phase successfully, we set up the API in the productive environment. And caution, you cannot be refunded if any eCertificate is signed wrong. So be careful to really check the certificate before signing it, because there is really nothing like a test eCertificate. You can always keep your certificates in a provisional or original draft status, so you can be sure to change it until every data that you have to provide in the eCertificate is available, and you are sure that the eCertificate is also formatted in the right way. In the morning, there were several questions about possibilities of formatting text via the API. This is not possible for several reasons. We use the same PDF as for the paper eCertificate, so there is a restricted amount of space available. Like in the text fields, it wouldn't dynamically adapt to the text or to the amount of text you enter. So that makes it quite easy and not quite difficult to format individually, because if you just put like a couple of words in bold, we cannot provide or make sure that text still would fit in the field. The species text is automatically put in italic, and what you can do for just formatting text a little bit properly is you have the possibility to give line breaks. But if you are using line breaks, we strongly recommend you have a look at the PDF before signing it finally, because our system will not like cut off text, it just overprints the rest of the PDF, and that definitely doesn't look nice, and you would like waste a certificate by doing so. There is a documentation available. I just give a short glimpse into it. It's really detailed for each field and the allowed values. So if you're interested, you can get the whole documentation, but we do not provide it online because it has also some sensible information about the endpoint URLs in it. I just can make a short demonstration how this actually works. I have prepared a certificate here in Postman application. Here you can see the structure or the scheme of the JSON file I'm going to send. Here we have the external ID and information about the eCertificate itself, and following by all the analysis results and so on. I just can click on send. And if I just make this a little bit smaller, you can see below you get the response message saying everything's okay, no failed fields, everything went fine. And if I switch to my cockpit, make a reload, just filter for the one I've created that has my applicant name in it, and here it is. That's the view in the front end, or in the form mode. You could also, if you have like a single certificate, you know there's an error in it, you can still edit it in the front end view. And now for signing, switch to the sign. I had the external ID 317. Just click on send. I have to wait. And something went wrong here. I kind of missed the new state. Okay, so we see I get a specific error message. And I had another one that was successfully signed. And if we check again on the cockpit, you can see that the status of the certificate has changed. Yes, that's basically it. I think there might be some questions coming up, so just feel free to put them in the chat.
Thank you very much, Barbara. I just release you from the presentatorship. So we can see you again, only full view mode. And I got a question here. Will there be an API endpoint to list and download eCertificates PDFs for easy integration with internal software?
No, we discussed that a lot, and we've just found out that each lab has such a individual setup of how they handle the data or the PDFs that it's really difficult to provide this via API. You can make a bulk download in the cockpit by just filtering the existing eCertificates and putting on checkboxes and download them via cockpit. Or the alternative is by receiving them via email. But we cannot like send the PDFs via an API to the lab.
Okay, thank you very much for the answer. I thought that. Any other questions? Both this evening webinar, which will be available tomorrow on the YouTube channel, and the morning webinar, which is available on the ISTA YouTube channel now, can be viewed, of course, on the YouTube channel. You can subscribe to it. And there you can also follow the questions which came up in the morning. I posted the FAQ section, which is generally about the eCertificates, but also technically about some questions which came up. It's on the ISTA website under certificates, under accreditation and certificates. You can find it there. It's actually a little bit low where you order paper certificates in the moment. The ordering is also here for the eCertificates. I just tell you because we're waiting for more questions. Will be also with 100, and you can pay by credit card or invoice. We kindly ask you to pay, if you pay by invoice, on time. If that is not the case, we might stop you issuing electronic certificates, because you are having them immediately and they can be issued immediately after you ordered them, also by invoice. Now I've got a question here again. Will the API documentation be made publicly available? I understood, Barbara, they will be made available to the labs.
Yes, I think, well, that's in the end, it's a decision of ISTA, but in the content that it has right now is not suited for being published on the ISTA website. But maybe we can make a version that doesn't contain any security issues about the structure and the scheme of the single fields, but I can provide each lab that is interested in using the API with the technical documentation.
Okay. So you can get that. Only directly with you.
Via I suggest I would have via Stella or via ISTA, not via MySign.
So if you
so
have
can keep track on who is interested.
Yeah. If you have not participated in the manual filling or Excel filling, which is free of charge for all labs, then you could apply with Stella on audit@ista.ch. What we need from your side is a email address, as Barbara mentioned, where you want the PDFs to be sent to afterwards. We would advise you to have a general one for that, for receiving the certificates only. That could be favorable, so you don't lose any, and we'll always have them in the inbox of this email address. The other thing is a transparent PNG file with your lab stamp, and the third one is the signatures you want to have also in transparent PNG, plus you should add there the name and the job title. So all the data you have to print in the moment on the paper certificates should be also there, including the signature. You can have as much signatures as you like, but you need to see that these should also reflect your way of operation, as they will be audited at a later cost. We just got a question. The cost of the API setting up is 2,200 Swiss francs. This is a one-time cost. It includes, I think, 8 hours support from MySign. So that's what we think, or we saw in the test phases, is needed. If you need much more than that, you can have a direct contract with MySign to help you there. But these are the costs which occur on our side. There are costs which occur on your side to make the data from your LIMS to go into JSON, which, if it's a modern system, should be easier, and to have the postmaster to transfer the data into the API. So that's one-time cost. Any further questions from your side? We had a little bit more in the morning. So if you are interested, I advise you to go to the morning session on YouTube to find more questions there. A number of them are also answered inside the Q&A, which came also from the webinars and from the laboratories testing the system in the first round and in the second round. And I would like to encourage you again, if you did not participate in the testing yet, register for it with Stella on audit@ista.ch and get your credentials. You have to provide also for the testing the 3 things which I mentioned before: stamp, PNG, signature PNG, and an email address. Of course, you can choose to get it by email or download it, but you could do it anyway. If you get it by email, you can still download the signed PDFs. Maybe I can add one more thing because it may have got lost during the discussions. One thing was the scientific name of the species under investigation. That will be in italics. All others will be flow text. and the accreditation and technical department agreed that then they do not need to be in italics, for instance, for other seat determination. Just got the information. You cannot see me. Now you can see me as well. Now we have another question. Does the API provide a way to preview the PDF before signing? I think that can be done directly in your cockpit.
Yes, the API itself doesn't provide you a preview. You can use the cockpit and open the eCertificate either in the front-end view, so you just can check if all the fields are filled out correctly, or you can use the share functionality. You get an URL, and there you can log in with the number of the eCertificate and an entering code, and there you can open it in the PDF view. But it has to be signed. It has to be signed as at least as a provisional, because before it's provisional,
signed as an original, you cannot change anymore. That's what we need to say.
If it's original, you cannot change it, and if it's not yet signed, there is no PDF that is being created from the system. So if you want to check, sign it in a provisional state, and then you can have access to the PDF via the cockpit or via the share functionality of the eCertificate.
Yeah, you can also look at the draft, of course, via the cockpit.
Yes, you can see the draft, but just in the front end view, in the form view, you cannot see it in the PDF view.
Yeah.
So last check would probably signing it in provisional state and then being able to open the PDF.
That is why we advise you to have those trial periods, and we've got can API have a free trial period before purchase of the software? And maybe we have to say this is no software. What we provide is just a hub where you can send your data to, and the data then would go onto the ISTA eCertificates. You can do a trial period, but the hub has to be set up for you. So the trial is free, but the hub has to be paid for, as that is designed directly for your needs. So the trial is free. Like the whole certificate system is free for you, but only the setup has to be paid. I would advise you, if you have a lot of certificates, to go for this API solution. I would not advise you, if you have only a handful of certificates per year, or 10 or 1 per week or whatever, to go on this system. There you might be quicker with the Excel solution, to fill it via the Excel file, which is available for everybody for free, to check it up and load it up. And then you can control the data in the cockpit and sign it either as a provisional or a original on the system. So if you are not having a lot of certificates, it would not make a lot of sense to have this API solution. This API solution is really for labs which have 100 certificates a week, or 500 or 700, 800, 1,000 certificates. We have labs who have this number of certificates. But if you only have 1 per week or 2 per week, it is probably easier to fill it via the Excel file, control it, sign it, and ship it to your client.
Yes, and there's maybe one big difference between using the Excel solution and the API. Via Excel, you just can upload new eCertificates, you cannot alter existing certificates, and you cannot sign certificates via the Excel upload. So that is possible with the API, which, as Andrea said, makes sense if you're handling a lot of certificates a day or a week. If you use the Excel solution, you have to sign each certificate manually in the cockpit. There's no possibility of bulk signing eCertificates via the Excel solution.
Yeah, well, if you only have 1 or 2 a week, then this is the same work which you have in the moment. So it's an additional thing which we offer here, especially for labs who have an awful lot of certificates. If you have only little, this may be easier to do it the manual way, or filling them with Excel, check them online, and then sign them. Any further questions? So if you did not participate yet in the manual or Excel, in the normal process, we would advise you to send us information, and then you can participate there. Will the PDF files or emails be cryptographically signed? Cryptographically, Barbara, can you say something for that?
Cryptographically is a wide range of what one means by cryptographically. The system makes sure that they cannot be altered by any foreign person, and we keep track on the PDFs within the system. But it's not like within a blockchain system where there's an absolute 100% guarantee that no alteration can be done. So, for instance, if you share your password or share your API key, we cannot control that. We cannot guarantee that there is in no single way that there is a possibility of altering the certificate. So, good advice, keep your login data and the API key really in a safe place. Otherwise, the system is a pretty safe system. We have also DDoS protection. We have a
we shouldn't say too much, you know. Security should stay security.
Yes, it stays security. We have also a scripting detection that would detect any kind of intruders that try to enter the database. So we have in general several layers of security measurements we take, so that the PDFs are really in a safe place. But we cannot influence how you share your login data, so that's up to you to keep that in a safe place.
We are already an ISTA accredited lab. What additional information outside of my email is needed to sign up for the eCertificate and API feature? To sign up for the eCertificate, as mentioned, we need to have this email address. We need to have the PNG of your laboratory stamp, which should be a transparent PNG, and the PNG of the signatures of the people who are allowed to sign. This PNG, also transparent, should include the name and the position, which is the same thing as it is now showing on your certificates, on your paper certificates, but it should be in transparent PNG. If you have not participated in the trials for the manual, please apply for that first, that you understand the system. It is much easier. And if you want to take part on API, we have a system set up for training there as well. that you don't need to use certificates which you have to buy. These certificates will also disappear. They will not be there anymore. Please subscribe to these tests on audit@ista.ch. Again, if you want to have the API test, we advise you to do the other before. And if API test, that means we have to set up the hub on our side, and that is related to cost. Anything else on that? And again, be aware that you can still use paper copies as well. For the safety point, if a PDF is altered or whatever, on the PDF it will show the OIC number or BIC number and a unique identifier. Your clients or their clients or the authorities who look at it will use these two to go on the ISTA website, log in with these information, and they find the original document. If they can quickly see if that PDF which they have in their hands are altered or not. So that is an anti-fraud measure as well here. If these files have been changed or tried to be changed, it will at that point be the situation where people can see that it is wrong, because the clients or the authorities have to go to the ISTA website, citas.org, and put these two information in, and then they can see the original certificate. And everybody who has got this data can see this original document. This is viewed one by one, but that is the safety measure that each has to be looked up one after the other. That there is no possibility to break into the system by this. And the unique identifier is so complicated that it is not likely that you can get this information easily. Again, if you have questions, either contact us or go to the FAQs on the ISTA website, citas.org, accreditation, ISTA certificates. You will find a lot of information there as well. I don't see that there are any further questions. In that case, I would thank you very much. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Stella.
Okay.
And tomorrow morning, this webinar will also be online and can be reviewed. Saying to you again that you can look at the webinar from the morning session easily on the ISTA YouTube channel, where you can also subscribe to. Thank you very much, and have a good evening, good day, wherever you are, and thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.